Hear that? It's not just a noise. It's the sound of a $50 part trying to take out a $1,200 axle shaft. We're in part 7 of the Nuclear Option series, and while we were chasing Death Wobble, we found this ticking time bomb. Let's swap it out before it explodes. I didn't put my rotor or my caliper back on after replacing these ball joints, so I've got no way to stop this spindle from turning. And what I came up with is this piece of unistrut. I'm going to use this 36mm socket in my breaker bar to break this loose. Now that I got this axle nut broke loose, I'm not going to remove it all the way till I get the unit bearing and the axle out and onto my bench. One thing you want to remember about these axle nuts is they're single use. Once you've used this and taken it off, you want to just toss it in the garbage. When I started this Death Wobble series, I thought it was going to be 8 parts. Well, it's turned into 10. In the construction industry, we call that scope creep. In the Jeep world, we just call that Tuesday. We started with ball joints, but as a retired sheet metal worker, I know you don't ignore a failing pivot point. We're doing it right once and for all. I'm going to use this 12.13mm socket to remove these unit bearing bolts. When we put them back, we'll put some blue Loctite on them and torque them to 75 foot-pounds. There's 2 of these on this side and 1 on the other, so 3 bolts total. With those unit bearing bolts out, now we can remove the whole axle. We got to be super careful. We got to support this axle on the way out. Inside this housing is the axle seal. We don't want to damage that while we're pulling out the axle, and we don't want to damage it when we're installing the axle again. I got this axle here. I'll see if I can get this unit bearing to come off. I thought it was a little strange. This OEM nut has this flange around it, but the Dorman doesn't. Now I just got to get these C-clips knocked off. Okay, I think I got the press set up on here, so this side's not going to interfere with the other side coming out. Don't want to push it out too far that way because we want this end to stay in a little bit. Ended up going too far anyways. This bearing cap doesn't look too bad. Now I'm going to have to knock it back a little this way. Well, I finally got the U-joint out of this side. I had a few issues. First of all, this press that I rented, I had to go back because the other one I had was completely bent. So you couldn't get this thing to stay on and press straight in. So it was a big problem. I went and got another one, traded it in. This one is nice and straight and it worked for me. I still caused myself some problems though. When I was pressing this side out, you have to make sure this opening isn't gonna block the cap from coming out the other side. And I think what I did is I had the opening here blocking it. And what happened is the ball joint just ripped right through the cap. That was kind of weird. Like stuck in here. All I had to do was drive the U-joint farther up and this whole thing came out. It's time to get this side out and then we could put the new ball joints in. The other thing I did was I had to go get myself a third hand. My little vise isn't up to this. I don't have this mounted right. I got it just set on some 4x4s for now and it's really helping even though it's kind of not really the perfect setup. Perfect. Now we can shove this thing back that way, get the other cap out. The thing that made it easier this time is I didn't shove this cap so far out that it fell into the yoke. I left it staying in there and I could get this cap off here. Once you send that through, then you got to try to push it back through, and that's a big pain in the butt. Okay, finally got it all out. Not sure why this U-joint was so noisy. I haven't really found any cap that looks like it's torn up inside or rusty. All right, the old U-joint's out. Everything's ready. I cleaned up these yokes. I used a little Scotch Guard, cleaned some of the rust off. This U-joint, the new one, I'm going to remove the caps. I'm going to just remove all of them. I'm going to really carefully remove all these caps. I don't want one falling off while I'm trying to install this U-joint. Go ahead and get this in. Okay, I got to start there. Seemed like I really wasn't going to get in all the way just by hammering it. So I set up the press here. I put a unistrut nut or flat plate on this side. I'm using a socket on this side. Hopefully I can drive it home just the rest of the way so I can get the clips on both sides. This is what the bearings are supposed to look like inside the U-joint cup, and this is what it looks like when you got to spend another 80 bucks on another U-joint. Well, one bad move and you're back to square one and you're $80 poorer. I started out hammering my new U-joint in, and then when I wouldn't go any farther, couldn't get that last little bit, I switched to the press and tried to press it in. Still wasn't going. That's when I realized that when I put the cup in, I must have done something wrong, because I ended up with this. Hopefully you can see that. The needle bearings are all jacked up, and then there's some in the bottom that are crushed. It takes a little bit to not let this go in far enough to get the C-clips on. Well, I got my new U-joint installed, but here's the rest of the story. I had to go down, purchase another U-joint, so I took my axle and my new U-joint down to A1 Machine Shop. They're like the local go-to machine shop for hot rodders and engine builders here in Cruces. Rudy said he usually wouldn't take on a job that small, but I walked in, handed him my parts, and his machinist, 10 minutes later, I had my axle and my U-joints installed just the right way. Now I got wheels coming tomorrow, brand new wheels for the Gladiator, and I got to still have to install my drag link and my tie rod. So I'm in crunch time right now, so I can't fool around. I couldn't give myself another attempt and another chance at destroying another U-joint. I had to have a professional get in on it, and that's just the way this one worked out. I kind of felt like a failed DIY guy because I destroyed a U-joint and I had to get help installing this one, but this one's perfectly installed. Now I'm just about ready to put this axle back in. There's a couple things I got to do first. If you go online and look for, or you go to your local parts store and ask them for a spindle nut for a 2022 Gladiator or a Wrangler JL, they're probably going to give you one of these, which is a Dorman, and it claims that it's a direct replacement. But what I found is that when you go to put it on, you can see this nut isn't really fitting on this opening. What you actually need is this OEM nut, and you'll see how this fits over. That's a much better fit. And not only that, but it's a completely different kind of nut. You can see there's a massive difference between the Dorman spindle nut and the OEM Mopar spindle nut. This is actually called a prevailing torque fastener. And you see this washer portion is attached, but it rotates. That allows you to get your torque value without this nut digging in. You can see what looks like red Loctite. That is not red Loctite. What Mopar has pre-installed is a micro encapsulated thread locking patch. This is different from the liquid red Loctite that you get in a bottle. Since this nut is a prevailing torque fastener, the red patch provides an extra layer of vibration resistance. And because it's a dry, factory applied film, it doesn't act as a liquid lubricant the same way a bottled Loctite does. This is the main reason these are single use. Once you thread that nut on, the capsules in that red patch crush and set. If you were to remove and put it back on, that seal is broken and the nut loses its specified locking ability. Here's the part number for that nut. I had to run down to El Paso to get this. You know, some mechanics, especially in places where vehicles tend to rust, they want to put a thin layer of anti-seize on here. I'm not going to put anything on here. I'm just going to get my unit bearing installed here. Some people put just a little layer here too. And now what I'm going to do with my spindle nut, I'm just going to thread it on here and make sure I'm started. And I'm not going to be cross-threaded, just till it starts on. I'm going to fully tighten this down after this unit bearing is installed and the bolts are torqued on it. So I am going to add a little anti-seize to the steering knuckle where the unit bearing is going to be in contact with it, so that we'll be able to get it off later. I'm going to take some of this 75 weight gear lube. I'm going to paint it on the splines on the end of this axle. So we're going to get this with two hands. Make sure this axle isn't diving towards the bottom. We want to try to elevate this when we go in. Our speed sensor, this wants to be pointing towards the front of the vehicle. That'll save you a lot of trouble if you put that in the right place to start. So with the axle removed, I got this homemade ramrod tool here. I'm going to put this in and try to wipe that right out. So this is definitely something that we want to do right, because messing this up would be 100 times worse than ruining a U-joint. I got some blue Loctite on my unit bearing bolts. I'll get these started. I got my torque wrench set to 75 foot-pounds. There we go. Okay, these three are torqued to 75 foot-pounds. Now we can go ahead and torque our axle nut. So now all there is to do is torque this axle nut to 100 foot-pounds. Now we'll get our 100 pounds. There we go. Well, here's the moment of truth. I got my microphone set right here. Let's see what happens. See if this ticking noise went away. Well, obviously, I didn't get rid of my ticking noise. Well, that's awfully disappointing. The teardown, the money for parts, and that ticking sound is still right there. I think what I need to do is jump back, take a break, and reevaluate my process. I got a little ahead of my skis on this diagnosis. Well, what's my next move? I'll do what I should have done from the beginning. I'll put the tire and wheel back on and do a proper 6 and 12 bearing test. Okay, I got the wheel back on, and now I'm going to try to give it a 6 and 12 shake and see what happens here. It's kind of a big bad boy to grab and shake. Well, my 6 and 12 test was inconclusive. I didn't feel a lot of movement in that wheel, but it's still making that noise, and that's coming from somewhere. Look, I got into this mess by throwing parts of this Gladiator, but since I'm in so deep already, I got this Moog hub bearing I'm going to install. Let's eliminate the variable. And I just put this on a couple days ago, so it's coming off easy. Hopefully the mystery's over, and this hub bearing was the one that was making that ticking sound. This is a Moog 513423. It's supposed to be actually better than the OEM. Okay, that's a nice, perfect fitting part. Got our 3 hub bearing bolts, little blue Loctite on them. I'm going to have to reuse this one-time use nut. It's definitely not safe. I'm not going to be driving around on it as soon as the dealer opens, because that's the only place I can find to get these. I'm going to order another one and I'll swap it out. But for now, just to tighten this up, get 100 foot-pounds of torque on it, and see if I still have that ticking sound coming out of here, I'm going to just reuse this for now. And you always want to remember, before you torque your axle nut to 100 foot-pounds, you always want to have your hub bearing bolts torqued to 75 foot-pounds and have them in place. Okay, got our 100 pounds on there. So I got my microphone set up here, ready to give this thing a whirl and see if we still hear that ticking sound. Unbelievable. Still ticking. Must be like a Timex. Takes a licking and keeps on ticking. Well, I'm not really sure what I'm up against with this ticking sound. I have 5 new Steelies to take to the tire shop and get my Mickey Thompsons mounted on tomorrow. The clock is ticking on my alignment, and I still have a drag link and a tie rod to install on this Jeep Gladiator. The mission continues. I wasn't even sure if I should post this video. It's not fun admitting that you missed the mark, but I've always said on this channel, you get muddy ruts, warts and all. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had a diagnostic fiasco like this one. And how did you handle it? And if you have a theory on that ticking sound, I'm all ears. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe and find out if my nuclear option finally fixes this death wobble. I'm Muddy Rutz, and don't forget, the best is yet to come.